Hi everyone, today we're talking about Protection Magick, what it is, what it's for and how you can easily implement it into your life. Hi everyone, thank you for watching, thank you for being here. Today we are talking about Protection Magick. It's an absolutely huge subject, so big that I wrote a 328-page course on it. I am going to be covering Protection Magick just in a very basic way. This is an introduction. We're going to talk about exactly what it is, why we need to use it, who should use it, and just some simple ideas for implementing it into your life. So why do we need Protection Magick? Well, the world is not a very simple place anymore. Even if we have very low human contacts, if we're somebody who stays at home all the time, we still have other influences. Most of us are still online. The online world is a very chaotic place. We are shown things that perhaps aren't positive, or that we weren't expecting to see, or that perhaps we didn't want to see. And this uncontrolled environment means that we can be subject to negative influences, negative energy. We don't even really need to worry necessarily about people wishing to cause us harm. Although if you are watching this video, it's likely that you are interested in magic, or you're a magical practitioner of some kind, in which case it's just as important to use Protection Magick, because you are dealing with other people that know about energy, that know about this kind of thing. But really, generally, we don't need to consider harm, but it's out there in the outside world in the form of negativity. So for example, as you go about your daily life, you could have grumpy teenagers, grumpy husband, grumpy wife. You could come across people in a shop that are tutting and being negative because they're not being served enough quickly, or you might get tooted by another motorist. All these little things can just really add up, and especially if we're very empathetic, we can absorb all this negativity. It doesn't do us any good. It's, being in crowds where there's lots of people with lots of different types of energy, we can absorb that. So this isn't necessarily about bad energy and bad thoughts and bad feelings, although we do want to protect ourselves against those. It's just like the energetic kind of overwhelm that we can get from being in busy places, from being at work, from being busy within a family. So Protection Magick is there to protect us, as I've said, from all kinds of harm, intentional or otherwise. It's for our health and well-being, it's to keep us safe, and it's to keep us from getting overwhelmed. Magical practice works a little bit like wearing sunglasses in bright light to protect your eyes, wearing a seatbelt in the car, maybe wearing a life jacket when we go on a boat. We're not expecting to encounter harm, but we are just taking small actions like putting on a seatbelt or some sunglasses to protect our eyes, to just keep ourselves safe, to just negate that opportunity, that chance of something perhaps not so positive coming our way. So there's two ways of looking at magical practice, two ways that we can implement this into our lives. There's lots of small daily rituals that we can do, or little actions or little things that we can do, or obviously there are sort of bigger spells and workings that you can do with protection in mind. But these little actions, they're really what makes up this protective layer. For me, Protection Magick is a vital part of magical practice. I am a magical practitioner, so I do put myself into certain states. I am dealing with people who also understand this world and understand that magical protection is something really that you need to have. And so I feel like I'm more prone to intentional harm than perhaps the average everyday person, and it might be the same for you. This is not something I worry about. This is not something I think about. I have little things that I do that I feel keep me safe, and that's it. But I do them, but I don't spend any amount of time worrying. Again, I feel like that would lower my energy, my vibe, if you like, and again, that can leave you open to harm. So not worrying is a very big part of that, going about my life not expecting people to do me harm, but to take precautions as somebody that practices magic. So for me, that would be casting a circle. So if I do a spell, I am somebody who will cast a full magic circle. I use protection at home, so I protect the home. There's little bits and bobs that I do that even my husband wouldn't be aware of, to protect the bubble that we live in, this building. And I very much keep my work private as well. So the whole to know, to dare, to will, to keep silent. If something needs me to do some magical work, if it's important enough that I need to do that work, then I make sure that I keep that protected by keeping it quiet until well after I have completed and the spell has been a success. So what does magical protection look like? It can manifest in many different forms. There's lots of different things that we can do to protect ourselves. So this could be anything from a bedtime hair brushing ritual, so a form of glamour magic. It could be wearing protective jewelry. It could be carrying a crystal in your pocket or placing them around the home. It could be blessing food before eating it. It could be using energy there's several ways to do that. It could be using energy in your everyday life and also in your magical practice. And it could be things like amulets, charms, talismans, using sigil magic, creating a private sigil for protection. Absolutely, there's millions of ideas, hence me being able to write this much on it. So this is just a brief introduction. So what can we protect? It's not just about protecting ourselves. We can protect homes, gardens, workspaces, colleagues, if we have their permission, children, pets, buildings, one room, an object, an idea, a relationship, a garden, going on a journey, so travel, absolutely anything. You know, if there's something and you want to protect it, you can protect it. So there is lots of simple, protective, magical ideas and activities that absolutely anyone can do. So you might have gained some few ideas already from the list I just gave in what does magical protection look like. So you could wear jewelry, so crystals. If we think about crystals, you could wear crystal jewelry. You could carry crystals in a bag, your pocket, put one in your bra. You could make up a little charm for protection with a crystal in and carry that in a little, some people call them pillows or sachets. You could put a crystal under your pillow to protect against bad dreams and just to keep you safe while you sleep. You could display protective crystals at home, have them as part of your decor. In that way, no one would actually know what that crystal was for. So there are lots of sort of surreptitious ways you can protect yourself. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be as simple or as complex as you like, protective magic. You could use crystals in protective wards, in protective spells. You could write a crystal into a spell and then carry that crystal with you wherever you go. Some crystals are specific to particular jobs. So for example, aquamarine. I love aquamarine. I have it in my engagement ring. I quite often wear it as a pendant. It is known as the stone of courage, but it's also specific to protecting you. It is said to protect you when undertaking water journeys. So if you go on a boat, you go out to sea, aquamarine would be the stone that you would carry or wear or display. Maybe you work on a ship and you've got a little cabin. There are so many ways that you can implement even just crystal magic alone into the protective sphere. So crystals that we can use for protection. This seems to be the most well-known part of protection magic. So many people know their crystals for protection. So it's things like onyx, amethyst, black tourmaline, hematite, tiger's eye, clear quartz. So a lot of the black crystals, they have that protective energy, they have that ability to absorb. So any sort of like negative energies or things that you've banished or you don't want, black is a very good colour of absorption, and the stone absorbs it rather than you. That's the idea. So you could create a protection incense with herbs and things like copal and frankincense, or you could actually buy an incense that is related to protection. So for example, I know Satya do a rosemary incense. It's in a dark purple box. Well, I associate rosemary very much with protection. So you don't even have to make this complex. You can buy something. You don't have to overthink this. It doesn't have to be difficult. So you can use these incenses at home, in a magical area, if you're lucky enough to have one, like a temple or a spell room, on your altar. You could use incense to cleanse yourself before you go and do a particular activity. You can cleanse an object to help protect it. You could use incense at work if the setup allows for it. Obviously, if you work on the shop floor of Marks and Spencer's, you are most likely not going to be able to burn incense. But if you work for someone else, maybe in a room somewhere or in a porter cabin, I can think of some jobs where I probably could have got away with it if I'd asked. If you work from home, if you have a dedicated workspace, you can burn protective incense there. You can do that very, very mindfully, very intentionally, and you could do that specific to your workday to protect you, not just in that room, but to protect you as you go about your work day. So again, I don't go with this phrase, it's all about the intention, because no, that's not what drives magical success, but the intention is your goal. So you can set your intention very clearly of what you want to achieve, and you can achieve just about anything within the sort of laws of the world, you know, natural laws and magic. So incense, very easy. Crystals, very easy. A protection oil, you could create a protection oil, anoint yourself, you could anoint your children, your pets, provided you've obviously made that oil safely. Make sure that when you're using essential oils, you always dilute them to 2% or even less. You can find many recipes online for protection oil. All you've got to do is Google protection oil recipe. And yeah, so very, very good idea. You could use it before traveling, before work, before bed. Whatever your intention is, you know, make that intention as you use it, make that intention as you make it. You could buy a protection oil and just use it for all of the things that I've suggested. And herbs for protection oils are things like rosemary, lavender, patchouli, all types of sage, mint, peppermint. Those sort of very strong smelling, pungent herbs, I would say, are very good at repelling those sorts of negative energies. So again, you could use herbs in a slightly different manner. You could use them in a little protection bag. Earlier I said sometimes they're called pillows or sachets or charm bags or mojo bags. There's lots of different traditions and practices that use these different types of bags and give them different names. You could use herbs. You could use this little bag, you could put it in your work bag, your gym bag, your handbag, take it to work, put it under your pillow, do whatever with it. But you can use herbs as well, obviously, in other ways. So you could use them mindfully in cooking. I know lots of people are quite into their kitchen witchery. You can obviously use herbs in spells, so in candle magic, some people like to dress their candles with herbs. And again, we're looking at things like rosemary, lavender, all types of sage, dill, fennel, bay leaves, perfect for protection. What other options do we have? We have something that is even easier to use, free. You don't have to go anywhere to get them. You don't have to go online to buy them. And that is your words. Now, I really, really love the use of language. partly because it's something I really, really struggle with due to illness and getting older. I've spoken about perimenopause on here. I think it's something we should talk about more often, but words come to me quite difficult. It's funny that the one sentence I mess up is where I'm saying it's difficult to use words, but yeah, it's quite hard for me to connect my brain and my mouth sometimes and come out with the right words. And as such, that means I now have a particular sort of love and enjoyment of words, even more than when I was younger. And I was a keen poetry writer when I was younger, but they have become so precious to me because I have to think so much about them. And in that way, I think they have become even more powerful for my own personal practice. And words are very, very powerful. You can use them anywhere, for anything. They're free, they're simple most of the time to use, they're easy, and we can use them in things like prayer, affirmations, statements, charms, so little songs and rhymes that we can use magically, and obviously our intentions, whether that be the written word or the spoken word. Words, so easy to just use. So quite often when I felt unsafe and I felt like things could change and turn a little bit for the worse, and I have been concerned, I have used words, I've made a positive statement. And even perhaps if that hasn't made, even if you believe that that wouldn't make a difference to the outcome, what that has done is made me feel more confident, and then I've probably given off an air where I'm not looking scared and I'm looking confident, and actually I believe that sometimes that can keep you safe. So words, very, very powerful indeed. So in conclusion, protective magic can be as simple or as complex as you personally want to make it. I would use some, I do recommend it, whoever you are. It doesn't hurt. It's good to feel safe, it's good to feel secure, and it's good to feel like we are doing something to do that, you know, to achieve that. I would say that you need to make sure that you are backing everything you do up with the mundane. It's not all just about the magical part of life. If I do this, I'll be safe. If you are putting yourself in harm's way and you are doing dangerous things and you are not being sensible and you are not following through with the first sort of line of magic, which I believe is the mundane, then obviously you might have problems. So I think, first of all, do the sensible things, do the practical things, do the mundane things, and then back up protective magic with something more magical. So use a grimoire, record what you've tried and what you haven't tried, what feels good, what doesn't. Write this stuff down so that you can use it at a later date if need be, and perhaps just start to implement things day by day. A lot of people use energy for protection magic, so they might create an energetic shield or a ward or some sort of bubble around them each day. Lots of people do that, lots of Reiki practitioners do that. And then you can implement all the things we've spoken about. For example, there is something I do to our home. I'm not going to say what it is in case my husband watches this, but I do something magical to our home to keep us all safe. And I make the intention that protects absolutely anyone who enters this home, that has good intentions. So whether that be friends, family, workmen, whatever, if you come in this house, you're blessed and you're protected. I would say that it's okay to carry out this magic on behalf of pets and children. Usually I would not do any magic that does not involve getting the permission of another person. But when we're talking about pets and when we're talking about children, I firmly believe it's okay in this one instance to do magic on their behalf without needing their permission. We should always be looking to protect our animals and our children, and I make no apology for that whatsoever. So daily routine, getting into a daily routine, keep positive, keep, as I call it, the vibe high. I think that this really does go a long way. I think that if you are, you're down, you allow yourself to be down, and I want to distinguish this from obviously like mental illness. Obviously, sometimes we get to a state where we can't help being down, but if you have a choice, if you are able to look at your emotions, look at how you're feeling, and you're able to positively make that sort of pro-choice to be happy and upbeat where you can, then do it. Because I think that sometimes we give off energy, don't we? We let kind of other people know how we're doing, and it's kind of like curses. I think if you believe in them, they are much more likely to affect you because you are investing energy into that belief and into that thought. For me personally, I stay positive. I'm very much of the opinion that no one can harm me. I keep cheerful, even if things are absolutely shockingly bad. I decide I'm going to be happy, and I've got this mental fortitude, and I try and keep myself up because I believe that that protects me, that keeps me safe, along with the other things that I do. Ask for help from people if you're unsure about magical protection. Do some research online. All of the answers are out there, and there's also lots of books on protection magic. So you're looking at authors like Cassandra Eason, Jason Miller, Damon Brand. All you've got to do is write magical protection books into a search engine, and you will find probably hundreds of books on this topic. Very, very interesting, a lot to it. So I hope that has really, really helped. I'd love to know, tell me in the comments, do you do any daily kind of protection magic? Have you got little rites and rituals and things that you do? You don't have to give me the details. If you feel comfortable in talking about this, then it would be lovely. It's always good to learn off of other magical practitioners. Yeah, there's always something that can be learned from someone else, no matter how much experience they do or don't have. So brilliant. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this video was helpful to you. Please give me a like if it was. If you're new to the channel and you've just watched this, please hit subscribe. It tells YouTube that my video is worth showing to other people, more like-minded people like us. So thank you so much for watching. Take care for now. Love and blessings. Bye.